Okay, that survey is conducted by North Dakota State University Wheat Quality Laboratory. Let's start with the hardwood wheat production by state. The map on the left, it shows the all 7 states that produces hardwood spring wheat in USA. That covers approximately 99% of the total US production. And the pie chart here, it shows the relative production of all those states. As you can see, North Dakota covers little over half of the total production. Minnesota as a state produces over 2 million metric ton of hardwood spring wheat, which is a significant amount. Now, NDSU is conducting research on hardwood spring wheat for a long time. Before going to the survey, very briefly in 2 slides, I would like to introduce my group at NDSU and our research focus. So this is the group I have at NDSU. I have 5 research scientists and food technologists full-time working in the group. We have 4 PhD students and 1 master's student, and also we have research assistants who are mostly the undergraduate students. We also have visiting scientists, postdoctoral research fellow, and scholars. In terms of the research focus, I have 3 major research focus. One is that crop quality survey that we conduct in an annual basis. Also, we do support NDSU wheat breeding program. We have 2 wheat breeding programs at NDSU, winter wheat and hardwood spring wheat. So for both the breeding program, we do quality analysis of their material, which is nursery samples and the variety trials. So here actually my lab conduct approximately quality analysis of 5,000 samples a year. Also, we do fundamental and applied research projects through PhD and master's students. Now, today I will be talking about the crop quality survey. So what is this actually? As you can see, this is an effort toward market development. If you look onto the history of this survey, it started in 1960s. It started with the North Dakota grown hardwood spring wheat, and later in 1980, all other 3 states, South Dakota, Montana, and Minnesota actually joined to this program. And even later, in the year 2000, 3 other states from Pacific Northwest were included in this program. So this survey now covers approximately 99% of the hardwood spring wheat grown in USA. Now I would like to very briefly discuss the methodology and also the purpose of the survey we do. Through this survey, we generate data for 2 quality reports, which are considered as the prime marketing tool of hardwood spring wheat. One of the report is hardwood spring wheat regional quality report. To explain this, I would like to clarify you here that the whole growing area across these 7 states are divided into 18 regional areas that we call crop reporting areas. And we collect sample from each of these crop reporting areas from multiple fields and then make the composite. So the result comes as of each crop reporting areas. Now, you can see this is the last year data, this year, 2023. So the number of sample we collect from each crop reporting area are actually quite variable. It depends on the area coverage of hardwood spring wheat in each of those crop reporting areas. And you can see here, these are the numbers of each crop reporting areas. This is the state total, and this is the total of the year. Now, this year we had 755, which was a little bit less actually. We generally get approximately 800 samples for the survey. This is just a snapshot of the Minnesota by county, the sample we collected this year. As you can see, Minnesota A and Minnesota B. So these are the numbers variable, again, depending on the area coverage in each county. Okay, the second report we generate data for is US Wheat Associates Quality Report. Now, this report is a little bit different than the previous one I was talking about. Here, US wheat associates include all the 6 classes of wheats, their quality analysis, and that is mostly produced for the international buyer. Now, we do the hardened spring wheat part of this report. For this report, we do the quality analysis in a little bit different way. As you can see, this yellow line, it actually divides that whole growing area into 2 parts. The eastern part we call Gulf Great Lake exportables, and the western side is Pacific Northwest exportable. For each of these exportable, we generate 3 composite samples based on the protein levels, low, medium, and high. So for this whole analysis, we generate 6 composite samples and do the full-scale quality analysis. Now, these are the major tasks listed here under this survey. So some of the tasks actually are conducted by third party under our coordination. For example, the sample collection is conducted by North Dakota Agricultural Statistics Service. And then we do the grading using the federally licensed grain inspector who are based here at Grand Forks. And after generating the data, we deposit the data in a repository which is managed by a third-party international agribusiness group. Now, while we do this work through the third parties, we have to coordinate all this work. And the rest, all other work is done by NDSU Wheat Quality Laboratory. As I said, in addition to coordinating all these tasks, when we receive the sample, we have to clean it and then prepare composite samples, do the quality analysis using a wide range of testing methods. We generate data for individual 48 traits, and then do the data analysis, table and figure preparation, then send it to the North Dakota Wheat Commission for the regional crop quality report, and US Wheat Associates for their annual report. Now, in addition to this, actually, I do present this data to the international trade teams and in the seminar. So I will later detail how we do this. Before I leave this slide, I would like to draw your attention on one thing, that's we have a strict deadline of 15th October. So harvesting to 15th October, we have a very narrow window to collect sample, do the testing and the reporting. So it's a very crazy time for my lab. I actually employ all my graduate students also to help us during that time. So these are the 2 reports I was talking about, a regional quality report and US Wheat Associates crop quality report. I think most of you are familiar with this report. I was talking about the international trade team. Several international trade teams come over here at Fargo, and also we go to the overseas to present our crop quality data. As you can see, the trade teams come from all over the world: North Africa, South Asia, Philippines, who is the single most important buyer for hardened spring wheat, Southeast Asia, and several teams from Japan. Also, US Wheat Associates organize seminar in Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines every year to present their quality data. I present the data here, all this, and there are some other seminars as well. Now, the international buyer actually, through this discussion and meeting, they make their decision of purchasing hardened spring wheat every year. So this is a very important task for us as well. As you can see, this is actually a massive task. Of course, several organizations need to come here to help us. We are based at NDSU and North Dakota Wheat Commission and Minnesota Wheat Research and Promotion Council, of course, our funding provider. Okay, let's move on to the survey results. Is it working? Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I would like to just clarify you here. The results, some of the results I will be showing you is of the east part, that's Gulf Great Lakes exportable. because I believe most of the audience has an interest on this. And we prepare the results that way. But many of the results I will show you the comparison of crop reporting areas, all of them. Just to start with the crop highlight. This year we had little low yield compared to the last year, but that was actually better than what we expected. However, we have identified that higher than normal variability across most of the quality traits. And that's because of the differences in the growing condition. Crop was high-grade crop, but there was lower than normal BTS kernel, so that DHB was an issue this year. There was a variability between the protein, particularly between eastern and western part. However, the overall, the dough strength and the baking performance was good compared to the last year. Let's move on the individual data. If you look on the grade, we had this year 95% crop were graded as US1. However, this is 3% less than last year and the year before. In terms of the protein class distribution, you can see this year's crop protein class distribution is very comparable with the last year. So I would say it is very standard hard spring wheat quality that we have identified this year. Now, this is the test weight distribution by crop reporting areas. As you can see, it's quite variable. And in the eastern part, we had higher test weight compared to the western part. And again, this variability is because of the growing condition, environmental variation. Now, if you look on the test weight distribution compared to the last year, you can see that in the top class, we had less number of, less percentage of samples this year in the higher test weight. So that's actually lowered the average this year, little bit less than last year. This is the DHB distribution across the crop reporting areas, and you can see it's quite variable. In the eastern side, we had low DHB compared to the western part. Again, this is because of that weather variation in some part of this eastern side, particularly during the harvesting time. We had high dew and high moisture that actually has an effect on the DHB. If you look on the DHB distribution compared to the last year, you can see in this class 25% and between 25 and 50%. This class we had higher percentage of sample this year, which were cut from the top classes above 75% DHB. So that's overall actually lowered the average this year. Now the protein distribution, if you look on the overall all numbers, it's look pretty standard for hard spring wheat. However, there were significant variation between the crop reporting areas. And practically what we have identified, there were some small pockets of the really low protein content that actually lowered the average in some of the crop reporting areas. Now, protein distribution, if you look on the protein distribution compared to the last year, it is very much comparable with the last year. So here I would like to mention that when we have identified that there were low DHB, DHB has generally a relation with the protein content. We're expecting that there will be a compensation in the protein content. But very interesting that actually we did not identify too much of the compensation in the protein content, which is very good from the quality aspects. Now, if you look on the other quality data, I would like to particularly draw your attention on two traits, 1000 kernel weight. We had a higher 1000 kernel weight this year compared to the last year and the 5 years average. So this is a good indication of the higher milling extraction. While we had little lower test weight, but this probably is a compensation. We are getting higher milling extraction. In terms of the sedimentation, we had higher sedimentation value compared to the last year and 5 years average. So this trait actually indicates the higher protein quality, I mean the better protein quality. We did not have any issue of falling number and down this year. And I would like to show you that the 1,000 kernel weight distribution between crop reporting areas, and you can see it's quite variable. 38, 27, it's a huge variation. And Minnesota A and Minnesota B had a very excellent 1,000 kernel weight this year. Some other flour data, if you look on the white gluten, this is slightly lower than last year and last 5 years average. We had higher starch damage this year compared to the last year. Now, this starch damage, little higher starch damage, were actually reflected in the viscosity analysis. Through our amylograph and rapid visco analyzer, both shows that a lower viscosity compared to the last year and last 5 years. Now, this is a little bit of the downside of the quality from the quality aspects, but not too much, not to be very concerning. Now, let's move on the dough physical property analysis. We did the farinograph, and it shows not much different in the peak time, I mean, dough development time and water absorption compared to the last year and 5 years average. However, the stability, we had a higher stability compared to the last year and last 5 years average. So that indicates a strong dough, which is a good quality parameter for hardened spring wheat. Now, the similar thing was actually reflected in the extensograph, another testing. In both the time point 45 and 135 minutes, you can see that the resistance were higher than last year and the last 5 years average. So that's indicate the strong crop. Now, when the resistance go up, generally the extensibility goes down. But if you look on this year's data, the extensibility actually did not go far. So that's just a slight compensation in the extensibility. So we had a strong dough with little less extensibility. So this is a very good quality parameters. And this was also reflected in the graph, which is another dough physical property analysis. You can, if you look on the P/L value, this P/L value was higher compared to the last year and last 5 years average. So that's indicate a strong dough. Now, all these things were actually reflected finally in the baking when we did the baking. As you can see, the bread volume was significantly higher compared to the last year and very much comparable with the last 5 years average. Now, I would like to clarify here, you probably will see that the bake absorption has been down, but I would like to clarify that this is not because of the flour quality. We had to optimize the baking protocol this year. We have been reviewing that for many years. Now, this year we implemented that. So this is because of that protocol change, not because of the quality, since the bread volume was really good. Okay, I would like to conclude my talk here with this conclusion. We had high grading crop with good protein, but the BTS kernel was lower than the average. We had higher 1,000 kernel weight, which is a good indication for the milling extraction. And then we had good sedimentation. That's an indication of the higher at the better protein quality. And in terms of the dough properties, that shows that stronger and slightly less extensible dough. Bake data shows higher low volume compared to the last year. So my recommendation to the buyer was that buyers should be aware that high variability exists in the quality traits, but overall the crop will provide very excellent and the quality for the end products. So with that, I would like to stop here. Thanks for your patience.